Alright, welcome back to my channel. Y'all see the title of the video. I'm going to be talking about the uncanny similarities between the San Antonio Spurs and Golden State Warriors Dynasties. Both of these teams have always been super similar to me. I've been making this comparison, in my mind for a while sometime. Really since when the Warriors won their last championship in 2022. Because I was like, wow, Steph really has 4 championships. It was crazy. And he might get his 5th ring this year. Honestly, if you ask me, I got the Nuggets or Golden State, coming out the West. Y'all probably seen, my previous video talking about the Rockets making a deep playoff run. But, man, after that game, the Rockets is just, you can just tell they're a really great defensive team. But they don't have that, true, really good scorer like how Golden State does. They're kind of similar to Orlando Magic, who I predicted was going to play the Celtics in the playoffs. If y'all checked out my previous video on them months ago. But let me get back on topic. But yeah, when the Warriors won that championship in 2022, I just thought, wow, this team is just super identical. And when you look at Steph Curry's accomplishments, it's really similar to Tony Parker's. So look, they both have 4 championships. Tony Parker has 4. Steph Curry, as we see, has 4 chips. And they both have a Finals MVP award. Just one NBA Finals MVP award. Of course, Steph won it in the 2022 championship. And Tony Parker won it in the 2007 championship when they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. And just look at their playoff totals. Super similar, in terms of scoring. As you see, TP in his playoff career, he has a total of 4,045 points. And when we look at Steph Curry's playoff career totals in terms of scoring, he has a total of 3,997. And he more than likely is of course going to eclipse him because Steph is more of a true scorer than TP was. And he takes way more shots, of course, and yeah, he's definitely going to pass him in that. But yeah, just look at the similarities right there. Same amount of rings, same amount of Finals MVP awards, and that just goes to show you how the Spurs and Golden State Warriors, they really cared about the core group and they played as a collective. Because you've seen Kevin Durant talk about how. Quinn Cook talked about how Kevin Durant wanted Steph Curry to win the Finals MVP in 2018, but he just went off. He went off in that game 3, I believe. Dropped 40, and that was the game where Steph, he didn't shoot good from the field at all. I think he was like 1 for 10. He had a 1 for 10 shooting game, and KD just dropped 40 on efficient shooting, and of course he was going to get he had the Finals MVP award locked in that after that Game 3 performance in the 2018 NBA Finals, but. Yeah, they play like a collective, and Andre Iguodala got the Finals MVP in 2015. You can definitely say Steph should have won that one when you look at the numbers in terms of scoring and other stuff. Everybody just knows that they gave it to Andre because he's a great Swiss Army knife player, and he did play good defense on LeBron. But come on, LeBron averaged a 30-point triple-double, I believe, in that series. So it really should have went to Steph, but it went to Andre Iguodala because you couldn't deny his impact on the court. He really is like a smaller Draymond Green. They were similar in the way they played. They're both Swiss Army knife players. He was just a small forward version of Draymond who is a better 3-point shooter. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the Spurs and Warriors, super similar. When Duncan was there, his time with the San Antonio Spurs, of course, he had 9 Western Conference Finals appearances in his career. Steph Curry has 6 Conference Finals appearances. And he has 6 NBA Finals appearances. And as we see, Tim Duncan has 6 NBA Finals appearances in his career, going 5 for 6 in the NBA Finals. Because, of course, we know he lost, him and the Spurs lost in the 2013 Finals to the Miami Heat. And, when the Spurs got, TP late, in the early 2000s, around 02, 03, they really needed that. They really needed TP and Manu Ginobili, because the Lakers, as you know, beating them in the 2001 Western Conference Finals, and that was because the Spurs really lacked a really good backcourt, honestly. That's really, in my opinion, the main reason why the Lakers beat the Spurs in the 01 Conference Finals. It was just, Duncan, Robinson, a really old, Sean Elliott. No disrespect, of course, man. This is just constructive criticism. I rock with Sean Elliott, but come on. He was already past his prime. It was, and even David Robinson. This wasn't prime 1995 MVP David Robinson anymore that we're talking about. It was he played good, of course, but man, it was just, Duncan definitely needed some other players to step up, and when he got Tony Parker, a really fast, good scoring guard who played the game the right way, and I made a couple videos talking about Tony Parker already. Just the way he's able to get in the paint and score, that floater was his true shot, man. He truly mastered that floater shot, that teardrop. That was his bread and butter. In the 05-06 season, he led the league in points in the paint just off of that floater alone, man. It was all about the teardrop. It's all about the teardrop. But yeah, super similar. And when you just look at the winning percentages of the big four, big three core of the teams, just look at it. Manu Ginobili, look at that. He had a 72% winning percentage in his career. Tim Duncan had a 71.9, rounded up basically a 72% winning percentage, and Tony Parker had a 71.1 winning percentage in his career. And mind you, as we see, that is the highest winning percentage in NBA history. And hey, look at Golden State. Look at their core of Steph, Clay, and Dre. 6 finals appearances, 4 championships. They played 721 games together with the record of 518 wins, 203 losses, and their winning percentage of that 3 core is 71%. Amazing. They have the 6th most wins by a trio all time. If you've seen Klay Thompson, he did an interview, a post-game interview after the Mavericks' last game, and the reporter asked him, "Hey, if you could, go back in time, knowing what you know now, because we know the Mavericks, all the injuries, Kyrie got injured, AD got injured, and then, of course, they traded Luka." The reporter asked him, "Hey, if you know what you know now, would you have stayed with Golden State?" Klay straight up just said, "Hey, don't do this to me, man." He knows, man. He should have stayed with Golden State. He really should have stayed, man. But hey, I got Warriors. They might make a deep playoff run, man. Steph was cooking yesterday. But yeah, back to this. The Spurs and Warriors are just super similar, man. Multiple championships, multiple conference finals appearances, strong leadership, great offensive strategies. They cared about teamwork. Basketball is a team game. When you look at all these, there's so many players in NBA history who are, great scorers, and you just look back at their career, and it's like they didn't really win anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at it like a Tracy McGrady, one of my favorite players of all time. Man, that dude was cold, bro. That's like a guy. I need a bucket, give him the ball. He's gonna get you a bucket for sure. But in his prime career, he never got out the first round. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. And it's like, when you look at the Spurs and Warriors, they knew that. Look at Draymond. He always talks about, the swing pass, passing the ball, not to just get an assist, passing the ball to his teammate. His teammate passed the ball, telling his other teammate to pass the ball to another player so they can get an even more open and better look to score the ball. That's a hockey assist. The Spurs play that same way. Great ball movement. When you look at the 2014 San Antonio Spurs, that is the best ball movement of a team in NBA history, bro. That is the reason why they beat the Heat. The way they was just swinging the ball around. Multiple good passers. Willing passers. Willingly knowing that your scoring numbers are going to go down. Playing a certain role. Like look at it. Tim Duncan, as we see, 5 championships, but he doesn't have every single Finals MVP award. You feel what I'm saying? He has 3 Finals MVP awards. Again, Kawhi Leonard got the one in 2014, and Tony Parker got the one in 2007. And a lot of people make the argument that Manu should have won the 2005 Finals MVP award. I did a video talking about the 2005 NBA Finals as well. You guys can check that out. But I still feel like Duncan, deserved that 05 Finals MVP award because he played the most consistent out of all the players. But you could definitely make the argument that Manu should have won it. It isn't a bad take at all. But yeah, they had a good core. The core of Manu, Tim, Parker, and then even when Kawhi started to emerge and become a greater player, it's similar to like how the Warriors were already a good team, but when they got Kevin Durant, they were even better team. You feel what I'm saying? When they got KD, they were still a better team, Like, that's just wild. You know what I'm saying? So they have like similarities just in that. Getting another, dominant, great 3. By 3, I mean small forward player. When the Spurs got Kawhi, he emerged, became a good player. The Warriors were good, but when they lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, I really felt like the Cavs had their number. I honestly did. I don't think the Warriors probably would have ever got past the Cavs again if they didn't get Kevin Durant. That's just my humble opinion, and that's the reason why the Golden State Warriors, when they won their championships in 2017 and 2018, KD, what he do? He got back-to-back NBA Finals MVP awards because he really was the best player in their playoff run and in their finals runs. So very similar in that. And they're both are really good defensive teams. Multiple seasons, they were always top 5. Every time they had a good season, they're always top 5 in offense and defense. Just the adaptability, long-term success, being able to adapt to league trends. Because look at the Golden State Warriors. You can say they started the 3-point trend. I'll always say the modern basketball now starts at 2015 up until today, present day, 2025. So 10 years now. And when you look at the Spurs, they were an older team, making deep playoff runs still. Because, they won their last 2 championships was, in 2007. And then they won it, years later in 2014. But they were, making conference finals. They were having deep playoff battles. Look at that deep playoff battle against OKC in 2012. That was a tough series, man. Tough 6-game series. But yeah, they were still able to adapt and was still able to compete against younger dudes. And what happened the next year? The Spurs just steamrolled through everyone. And we know they lost to the Heat in 2013. But look what happened. 2014, they came back and had a record margin. The highest record margin in NBA Finals history when the Spurs beat the Heat in the 2014 NBA Finals. Who, they had Wade, Bosh, Braun in their prime younger years against a older Ginobili, an older Duncan, and an older TP. But of course, Kawhi, when they really needed Kawhi, they really needed Danny Green, Patty Mills. They play more like a team again. And if you look at the ball movement that the Spurs had, it was a thing of beauty. It was poetry in motion, sharing the rock, and that's what basketball is really about. Again, so many players, they get hella buckets, they get a bunch of buckets, but man, playing with a good team, everybody's scoring the ball, everybody's, they win by committee, everybody's, scoring evenly. Man, it just feels like heaven. It just feels like heaven. It's perfect when your team just plays together, man. But yeah, some people want to, sometimes I see some people online talk about this. That, saying who was is the gap really big between the Warriors core, of Clay, Draymond, Steph versus Duncan, Manu, and Parker. It's really close. It's really, really close. Duncan has 5 chips because he won the one championship in the 1999 NBA Finals against the Knicks. But yeah, honestly, it's definitely close. It's definitely close. I don't think the gap is big between those core of Parker, Duncan, and Ginobili, and Draymond, Clay, and Steph. But hey, they won, multiple championships together. And to me, these two teams really have the best dynasty. I would say it's the Warriors, Spurs, Chicago Bulls, of course. Come on, 6 chips, back-to-back, 3-peat finals wins. That's crazy. I don't even know if we will ever even see that again. But of course you gotta throw you gotta give your credit to the Celtics back then. The Bill Russell Celtics. But super similar. And hey, another fact about this team, right? About these two teams, they never even won back-to-back NBA Finals. This goes to show you how hard it is to go back-to-back and win. 2 straight championships. Spurs never did it, and the Warriors never did it. They came close, but they just didn't do it. They had back-to-back Finals appearances, of course, but they didn't win back-to-back NBA Finals. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about this, man. Super similar, dynasties in the way they went about the game of basketball. But yeah, you guys tell me your thoughts and opinions. Do you agree with me? Are the Golden State Warriors and the San Antonio Spurs dynasty very identical to you as well? Do you think there's a big gap between the Warriors core versus the Spurs core? And who dynasty did you like better? Which team do you think is the better team? And just tell me your thoughts and opinions overall. All right. Hey, stay tuned in to these next couple of videos. Again, please like and subscribe if you're new. And stay tuned in, man. I just like talking about basketball. All right. Till next video.